Hello. So today we're going through the dashboard area of the growth strategy planner. And I have to say, this is really the heart of the growth strategy. So if you're listening to any of the videos, this one is really important. Pay attention. The other thing to make sure before you dig into the dashboard section is that you have properly identified your current growth goal. So I made another video that breaks down kind of what the difference between the goals are, why you have to pick one. And I will just reiterate that is your shining star. So everything else that you are doing needs to fit in, just like those, like Russian dolls that all fit inside each other, into the overall bucket, so to speak. Now I'm just mixing metaphors of your primary growth goal. And don't forget, your growth goal will change over time, but we're picking one to focus on just for right now. So as we get into the dashboard, the reason the dashboard is important is because it drives action. So as we look at the current priority here, there's really two things that we need to make sure of. One I already mentioned, and that is that it fits into the current growth goal. If your goal is more visibility, don't have a current priority of increasing new qualification calls or something like that, because that's a conversion activity, not a visibility activity. The other thing that your current priority needs to absolutely do is it needs to be very, very specific. So I love the concept of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. What that means basically is that you need to be able to ask yourself, how am I going to know if we've accomplished this? And when am I going to check that we've accomplished this? So for example, instead of just saying, increase listens on podcasts, you could turn that into a better current priority by saying, increase new listens on podcasts by 200% by the end of Q2. That gives you a deadline, that gives you a measurable. You could even get more specific and say what that number is going to be so that, there's just no confusion at the end. But that depends on your metric system. Now, in some cases, we do include essentially a scorecard or a dashboard, which is something that tracks your metrics of marketing over time and allows you to see patterns and rhythms. And that is really important. But for a lot of people who have a lot of different stuff going on, that's just an overwhelming step. So I recommend starting just with this current priority section, simple as it is. And if you're already tracking that data, then we can get into in another video how to kind of incorporate that here. But when you're setting a goal or a metric, now you're fitting within the nesting doll of the current priority. So you're breaking down the current priority. How are you actually going to get there? Right? What are the actions? What is the strategy you're going to take to get there? And I really recommend keeping it to one current priority to start, maybe two. Maybe you could consider three if you have literally a full-time person working on this. But each one of these, each current priority snowballs basically, because within it you have a few goals or metrics that you're working towards. These are the things you're tracking that will tell you if you are getting there, right? So again, I recommend maybe 2 to 3 goals or metrics for each current priority, because this gets huge fast. And believe me, we've gone down the trail of it getting majorly out of hand. And it is going to feel restricting. I'm going to say that right off the hop. It is going to be restricting, but that's the point. That's what makes this so valuable, is that it forces you to focus. So the other thing I'm going to say is that a goal or a metric can be simple, right? If we're talking about visibility events, it could be get on 5 new podcasts as a guest. That is an acceptable goal or metric. It doesn't always have to be, like how many click-through rates and open rates. Those are more engagement-focused metrics anyway, if we're talking about visibility in this example. Just pick something, make sure it's simple and clear rather than clever and fancy and complicated, and take consistent action towards it. The rest of this is all about accountability. So the status, change this color if it's changing. Are people hitting their next actions? Is the responsible human accomplishing their next actions by their due date? That is literally all it is to status. The next action ensures that you know exactly what is happening next for this goal to be achieved, for you to be moving forward towards it. Responsible human is who is responsible for the outcome, and the due date is when you're going to ask them about it, right? When was it supposed to have been done? Notes as we go through, this is where you just jot down. Are there issues coming up? Are there things you're not sure about? Are there considerations, right? And then add them to the issues list rather than trying to solve them right then and there, because A meeting can snowball out of control if you're trying to solve issues as they come, and you might end up spending half an hour on an issue that wasn't that important. So we're going to separate the issues and the problem solving. Just make sure the issues are relevant and you're catching them, because that's one of the most important things to the success of your growth strategy. Are you identifying issues quickly enough? If you have no issues, then you're not looking hard enough. There's always issues, and your ability to fix them is your ability to really move forward, eliminate your blockages, and get where you want to go. All right, that's it for dashboard. We're going to tackle other sections at other times. In the meantime, I hope this helped, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your day.